Hey everyone, you're listening to the AI Branding Podcast where we talk everything AI, marketing, branding, and content. Today I have a very special guest, Adam McChesney, and we're talking about kind of the journey into AI. Adam has a ton of experience in both sales and marketing, and I'm always interested to see how people like him are transitioning as the marketplace is going nuts. So welcome, Adam.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Always great chatting with you and excited to be here today, man.
Yeah, I follow you online. You're always, consistently posting content. For business owners, that's the hardest thing to do, and the thing I'm always telling them, like, it doesn't even have to be good. Just post consistently and go. But you seem to master it, and I know you teach a lot of people about it. So why don't we kind of start with just kind of your background in marketing and what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I got back into marketing in 2018. I was a medical device salesperson. I spent 5 years in medical device sales, selling CPAP equipment, and was making good money, but kind of just like burnt out of traveling and eventually wanted to start a family and all that stuff. And I just didn't know how it was going to all stack up. So I was literally sitting in a hotel room. How to make money online is what I typed in on one of my trips. And I came across basically a course that was an ad that said, hey, like, you can literally go build a multiple six-figure business with digital marketing by building websites, ranking websites, and doing all of that. So it's, for those listening, more of like a rank and rent digital marketing model. So I did that. I bought that first course in 2018, spent $7,000 at the time on it. And then I built 200 websites from 2018 to 2020. So I kind of built up a portfolio of digital real estate, started selling leads, just kind of hustling, flipping some stuff and things like that. Then went full time in 2020. Took my first agency to seven figures in 15 months. Then multiple seven figures. Then as I was in that process, I was a franchisee of a digital marketing agency. Then became a partner of that agency. Didn't last very long, so I exited that and then kind of restarted. Towards the end of last year, starting another agency that we're already doing 100K months already. But in that process, I shouldn't say all, I got 90% plus of my clients in the agency space from personal branding and the Adam McChesney name. I had three different agency names. Everybody kept saying, Adam, like, no, it's the back end systems and the processes, the people that were around me, right? And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's my name because anytime I'm not there and something goes wrong, they call me and they want to follow me wherever I go. And so people started asking me to teach them stuff, and I told them no for 2 years. And finally, I launched Builders of Authority, which in the beginning, before we relaunched the agency, it was teaching marketers, it was teaching contractors, coaches, and consultants how to build a personal brand and to be thought of as the person that people know, like, and trust, and the authority in their market.
Ah, that's amazing. Well, I love how you're not shy about it either. You're like, it was me, because a lot of, business owners like me included, I'm always like, I don't like the spotlight. I don't like the attention. Let's just talk about the frameworks and the results. Like that's what really sells. But I think, and we'll get into the kind of AI stuff. I think the personal brand and your ability as a business owner to show like I'm the one here doing the work, the person you can trust. I think that's going to be increasingly important as people are kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say ripped off, but people are tricked into following like AIs where it's like, no, I want to deal with a person. I want to know there's a person behind it. So
Absolutely.
so for the brand that you set up, like what was there some kind of turning point moment, or was it just kind of that constant like Adam, come fix this? Was that how you realized it?
So it kind of took me 90 days of consistently posting back in 2020 to literally get the first client from it. And then it kind of turned into like just this ecosystem of raving fans. So past clients, referral partners, just people that like would literally know that I did this, and they would see somebody else write, hey, I need somebody to help out with digital marketing and all that stuff. That helps start like escalate the process. And then of those 200 websites that I built back in starting in 2018, I launched an auto glass company in 2021.
Hmm.
So we launched literally with 400 calls in our first month. Whereas most businesses, that takes some freaking years to do that in any industry, right? And so I started to have a case study, and I was on the front line working with, basically as a business owner, working with a lot of my clients who were dealing with some of the same things. And so I saw it from a different light, and it really like broke down the barrier with a lot of people. Then we launched a landscape design company. Then we've since launched a Christmas light company. And I specialize in mostly in home service businesses and contractors. So it just made a lot of sense. And then people really started to like understand how well I knew this stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to call myself like a unicorn by any means, but if you need me to like whip up a WordPress website and do all of the SEO and then go do all of that stuff and sell it, I can do it. Whereas most marketers in the digital marketing space, they're either usually really, really good at sales and like being the CEO of an agency, or they're really, really good at like the technician behind the thing. And sometimes they're like really good salespeople that like are snake oil, where they're like, oh yeah, I know all this stuff. And then they sell something and they're like, crap, I don't know how we're going to fulfill on that. So I built a brand and reputation as somebody that over time, like has withstood all of the crap that's came my way, as well as been able to stick behind. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to go back out on my own, because I was like, man, this is my brand on the line. I understand I'm at an agency and a partner and all that stuff, but like people are coming for me. And all I have is a couple different shots with people. And my reputation is everything. That's more than any amount of money I can make.
Man, I love that. You know, that kind of ground up approach, and you know all the processes because you've literally done them. And I really think that's the future, where it's like that's going to be the expectation versus what we were kind of sold for. You know, I hate to talk about the Tim Ferriss book, but the 4 hour work week, like, hey, you just build
Yeah.
it and then you get a bunch of jerks to run it, and then that's all. Then you sip on the beach, you sit on the beach sipping, pina coladas, and you're just like, shut up. Nobody likes that. But no, I love how you leveraged your personal network and your credibility that you built. Now, with that said, how do you transition that from like, hey, you're in my network, we've never done business together, and maybe we're just friends. Like, how do you leverage that relationship into, say, money? Because a lot of, like for me personally, like that's my shy part where I'm like, I know a lot of people, but approaching them and being like, hey, you want to buy this? Like, it feels awkward.
So I just give so much away for free,
Mhm.
whether it's in one-to-one or it's a digital audit, or I literally will like do what I would typically charge somebody for and just want to build the value and do it to a point where they're basically like begging me to take their credit card. And so like, it's funny where like I signed up a roofing client last week that had been following me for 3 years. He never interacted with any of my posts on social media. I didn't even know his name. I didn't digital audit for him right before Christmas, and he was taking a vacation. So we hopped on a call last week, and he's like, "Dude, I feel terrible that like it's taken me this long to work with you, because even the stuff I've implemented on my own that I've learned from you, it's already working. And the agency that I'm working with right now, like." I did my own self audit based on all this stuff, and they're not doing anything that you're talking about. And he's like, I'm ready to sign up. So it's like, if I didn't provide so much value to where, even though I continue to raise my rates and I continue to do all these things where people feel as if they're still getting massive value in a discount, then I would be struggling to do the same thing that a lot of people struggle with, which is like, how do I ask for money? I'm not like cold calling people. I'm not sending out cold DMs. Like literally I mean, right now what's going on because of some partnerships I have going on, it's literally insane. Like on Sunday, I literally got 32 leads in a single day for people that were wanting digital marketing. And it was the most I've ever had in a single day. But it's insane what happens when you just provide so much value that people feel as if they owe you something in return.
Oh, that's great. Well, and that's such an easy lead too, because it's just like, hey, I came up with this thing. I'm giving this to my friends, and you're included in that list. Like, go ahead and check it out. Let me know what you think of it. It's such a soft opening, and again, it's that value in advance concept that really earns the business versus like, hey, trust me, it's gonna be great. Like,
Yeah.
just do it.
Oh yeah. 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 Oh yeah.
So when you're teaching people how to do this, because and the other side is the personal branding element, because nowadays, and again, going back to the whole AI stuff and all this fake content kind of coming online, I really think that the personal brand is going to be the most valuable thing that any individual professional can develop. Do you have
Yeah.
some tips that you tell people, like, hey, you want to get your personal brand rolling, like do these things if you want to start?
Yeah, so I mean, it helps, right? If you know who your ideal client is with all of this stuff. Even if you're not like writing it in your post that, like, for example, we work with home service and contracting businesses that do $1 million plus a year in business, have been in business for a minimum of 3 years. They already have a CRM in place. They have somebody other than the owner doing the sales and somebody answering the phone that's not like literally, out also doing the jobs. So like that's kind of our criteria, right? Now, I don't always say that with every single post that I'm doing, but when I'm creating my content, I'm thinking is what matters most to that person. So a lot of times people are like, well, Adam, what if I like just blow people off because I say I only work with people that do $1 million in business? Well, you'll probably get more of your ideal clients when you say those things because people are going to self weed themselves out. But even if you don't say that out loud, if you say it to yourself, I work with businesses that are X, Y, and Z, or I work with consumers that are X, Y, and Z, your marketing gets better. And when you manifest that stuff, it likely comes back, tenfold for you if you also do the work. So I think starting with who your ideal client is and then being consistent with creating content and creating most of your content, not from a standpoint of, I need to talk about what it is that I'm selling today.
Mm.
So if you look at most of my content, 80 to 90% of my content has nothing to do, in theory, with buy my stuff. And even when I do say buy my stuff, I'm telling a massive story. I'm doing a case study. I'm interviewing a client. I'm sharing how my own businesses are benefiting from the same services that I'm willing to go offer another business.
Mm.
Whereas so many people are like, oh, with personal branding, I get to go and twice a day say buy my stuff. But in reality, you need to build authority. You need to build know, like, and trust. And that's done by breaking down the barrier so that people are like, Adam and Mark are also human beings. They're not just robots, especially with all the AI stuff, but they're not just these crazy people that only work on their business all day long. Because we also know that that's not a reality.
Oh man, that's huge. And it, again, what you're saying is like, oh, it sounds so obvious, but when you get to the personal branding side, it's either too self-promotional or it's too salesy or it's too broad. That's really
Yeah.
the trifecta of bad content. Not that you shouldn't do those things sometimes, but for the most part, even when you're making that broad content, you're still thinking like, okay, here's the person I'm talking to. Hopefully, well, if you do it right, they'll know.
Yeah.
And if you do it wrong, then you still made some good, valuable content. So you're still winning.
Yeah.
We have an amazing limited time offer that you won't want to miss. Introducing the Build Your Brand Pillars course from AI Branding Academy, your gateway to mastering both traditional branding and AI-powered marketing strategies. With this course, you'll gain invaluable skills in creating strong brand foundations that stand out in today's competitive market. Perfect for innovation leaders like you. Don't wait. Take advantage of this special offer before it's gone. Head to aibranding.academy.
Oh,
Now, we did talk a little bit about, I keep on mentioning the AI stuff. Have you started to implement AI? Is it part of your processes, or how are you kind of utilizing it while still maintaining that kind of core voice that you've done a good job creating?
yeah. So we're not using AI a lot, like for my personal brand at this moment, because I'm at a point where we're using it, I would say, more for like ideas
Mm.
and thought topics, and specifically some stuff on platforms like YouTube and Instagram that I feel like I don't have as good of grasp on. Like Facebook gets me about 90% of my leads and my results, right? So I focus really on that and then leverage AI to kind of help change up and optimize some of the other stuff for some other platforms. But really, where we're using AI, and I'm talking a lot about it, is we're using AI to speed up the process for our clients.
Mm.
And so I'm talking about AI a lot. We're using a platform called SearchAtlas to basically, do a lot of keyword tracking and audits and things like that. And then there's an AI bot on the back end of the website that's allowing us to fix a lot of stuff. And then we're creating new content with ChatGPT, then putting it into Grammarly, having our content writer rewrite it, then SEO person go back and re-optimize it. So we're using it to, for a lot of our clients, do 10, 15, 20 new pages of SEO content a month, whereas it used to be a struggle to do 4 or 5 because we didn't have AI to help lead the way, right? And so with that, I tested it out on my auto glass company. like the first thing I said, before I go and test out all this AI stuff on somebody that's paying me money, I'm
Mm.
going to go do it on my company. Right. And so then all of a sudden we saw like our traffic just go through the roof last year. So we started really implementing this in April as I was exiting the other agency and not really running an agency. I'm like, I'm just going to test out a bunch of stuff. So when I do relaunch, I'm good to go. Well, we ended up, reaching as much as like $80,000 a month in organic traffic value from a lot of the AI SEO that we were doing. Because that was the only thing we were doing differently. And then also posting more to our Google business profile with AI. And then all of a sudden, last year, we end the year, we hit 7 figures in our auto glass company for the first time ever. We do over 200,000 in additional revenue. And in a year where the industry as a whole was down, prices, people were we were having a price matched up. Like it wasn't the greatest like quality year, but we did that much more revenue. And the only thing we did was implement AI into our strategy. And so then I was able to share that and then go say, hey, here's how we're doing things differently in the digital marketing agency. Whereas a lot of agencies right now, I'm not going to say that they're not using it, but they're not talking about it enough because they fear as if their clients are going to find out what AI tool they're using. I'm literally telling my clients, I'm using SearchAtlas. I'm using ChatGPT. Here's our exact SOP. And what they tell me is, Adam, this is working so well, it's not worth my time to go do it. So it's the abundance versus the scarcity mindset on how you're going to implement this stuff. Not to mention, doesn't matter what AI tool it is, it's only as good as as the information it receives. If you put stupid stuff in there or unoptimized stuff in there, it's going to give you that back. So part of it is our strategy and what we've been testing out. That is the secret sauce to the AI to take things to the next level.
I love that. So, I love the approach of like, hey, I'm going to test it out with my business first and I'm going to see how it works. And then I'm going to give you kind of an optimized process for now I could do it for you. And I have the results to back it. Now talk to me about the transition process of that. So you've built a strategy, you've executed it, you've gotten results. How does that turn into something that's, scalable for say your agency to execute?
Well, so I think what it does is basically it allows us to basically produce about 5x more for our clients at about the same price that we were doing previously. So in theory, like I was talking to somebody this morning and they're like, dude, like, why wouldn't you charge, 2x, 3x, 4? I said, because honestly, we're actually making more
Mm.
money in our business, more profitable, getting better results for our clients. We're doing something that no other agency that I've talked to. I mean, there's agencies now that have heard me, share this and now they're doing it. They're like, is it okay? Great, go do it. Raise the level of the industry as a whole. Like this is what everybody should be doing. And more people would like be happy to work with digital marketers, not hate it like so many people do, right? But what I say is allowing us to do that, and it's allowing us to get results quicker and close the gap on what used to take freaking forever. Everybody says SEO takes forever. Yeah, it does if you allow it to take it forever,
Mm.
right? So what we're doing, with where we're at and adding content, for example, it might it might have taken us 18 months to do what we're now doing in 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 months.
Wow. Oh, that's incredible. I love your approach too. It's not greedy. And it's funny because I started to say that. I'm like, the situation we're in right now with inflation wasn't just a bunch of huge corporations' fault. It was also like your local hairdresser that realized like, oh, I could charge
Yeah.
$300 for extensions. Yeah, we have wives. I'm always like,
Yeah.
what? How is it that much? Like that doesn't make any sense. But I think it was this kind of like, generally accepted greed where it's like, oh, we'll all charge more, we'll all make more money. But your approach is actually super refreshing, where it's like, no, this is good money. This is money for the value. I could scale this. My clients love it, and I'm doing well, and I don't need to, not that everybody's ripping people off, but frankly, if you're, I'm going to 10x it and blah blah blah, it's like, yeah, that'll work for a second, but now
Yeah.
you've just killed your long-term business, and that's going to do way worse for you than just doing a good value for years and years. So
Well, it's creating, right? Like I tell people right now, when you're working with us, it's like a 90-day sprint. now you're going to hopefully work with us for obviously a very long period of time, but we're going to sprint so hard in the first 90 days because at 90 days, in those first 90 days, when people are working with a digital marketing agency, they're already starting to think, did I make the right decision or did I not? And it doesn't matter if the results are great or if the results are not. They're always thinking that. And one of the things coming out of an agency where I had previously had 150 clients myself, where combined there was over 500, right? I was losing on any given month, sometimes 10 to 30 new clients a month. And so because of a lot of different factors that went into it, well, the problem a lot of times in agencies is if you're always focused on new client acquisition, or in any business, if you're always focused on that and not focused on how you can better your processes and systems in client experience and deliverable to create raving fans in those first 90 days to unlock the next 18 to 24 months. But so often, right, we have this scarcity mindset that what if I get too good of results?
Yeah.
Well, if you get too good results, you'd rather have somebody leave you for that than, hey, not so good results, and they're going to do it anyway. So I tell people now is like, if that becomes a problem, an issue, I just expect you to refer me 10 of your business owner friends and we'll have that conversation then. I'd rather have that conversation than you're upset because you're losing money and this is a terrible experience for you.
Wow, man, that's a fantastic, abundance mindset. And I think that's why you're super successful. And, it's funny because all the things you describe, like I see you doing this online. So it's not even just like, oh, he talks the talk, but let's check him out. No, you're really living it. So thank you for that. And thank you for, teaching other agencies how to do that, because it's not easy. And a lot of stuff you described, there are temptations for you to get greedy or take that like, well, I'm going to take a vacation and I'll just let the company run, because I think that's where everything has gone wrong, where it's like, no, the founder needs to be there. And yeah, maybe you don't work 100 hours a week anymore, but you're still working and people still see you and it's still you. So I think you're doing a great job. Sure. Let's wrap it up with just the your favorite AI, because I know you mentioned SearchAtlas and ChatGPT. Are those the main ones, or what are your top like 3 or so?
Yeah, so we're using those two. I love Opus as well. So like Opus is where I'm, creating a bunch of content, right? Where I upload the video and then it creates a bunch of short clips. So I just like that from the simplicity aspect. And then we're able to go like take one long video and have weeks and weeks worth of content for a content creator like myself. That's awesome. I'd say like those are like the main ones that I use on a daily basis, trying to like not get this, like I have, as many people do, especially with AI, shiny object syndrome, where it's like, I'm gonna go test this and test that and test that. I love how ChatGPT has so many things inside of there to where it's just like all of these other stuff. So there's some stuff that we're using on YouTube in there too. But yeah, those are the ones that we're doing for the most part. I just love how quickly things are changing, which is a good and a bad thing, because you're like, oh my gosh, I just learned how to do this. Now I got to have to go figure out the new features, inside of it, or what's now available. And so it definitely keeps you on your feet. But yeah, those are the things that I'm constantly using.
Man, that's great. Well, I love, again, just simplicity and execution. It sounds like that's what you're all about, and you're obviously, very successful at it. So well done. Where can people learn more about you and the stuff that you teach?
Yeah, so we have a free Facebook group. We post daily content in there, do some trainings as well. Just type in Builders of Authority on Facebook, join the group. It's awesome. You can also go to AdamMcChesney.com and you'll see all my different social links on there, but that's the best place. I'm most active on Facebook.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Adam. This has been fantastic. It was like every one of your answers was just like value. And, you seem like a real pro, and I wish you well, and keep on, the messages that you have of just that delivery, results, honesty, like transparency, like you got it all going on. So I'm very happy to promote you, and we'll make sure that lots of people hear this.
I appreciate it, man.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the AI Branding Podcast, where we talk everything AI, marketing, branding, and content. For more content like this, please subscribe.